Well, joining me now to assess the budget is Nigel Lawson, former Chancellor of the Exchequer and now a member of the UK House of Lords. Lord Lawson, thank you very much indeed for joining us today.
A pleasure.
First of all, let's look at the scale of the spending cuts. I mean, how do you slash 25% from the Home Office budget?
It's a big ask, and of course what you have to look at the figures is this is not all in one go. The fiscal consolidation, of which the spending cuts are the biggest single element, are spread in 5 equal instalments over the next 5 years, starting with this year. So to begin with, it's not going to be so tough to find the cuts, because there'll be, say, 5% in the first year, but they will mount up, and it is going to be very difficult indeed.
Do you foresee this is done? Is it salami slicing, or are there certain areas that the state just can no longer afford to fund?
It's going to be a mixture of both, I'm quite sure. There's going to be a major spending review this autumn. The results will be published in October, and they will be looking, the government will be looking first for whole functions that it feels the state should no longer perform. And they can be cut out. And then of the rest, there will have to be, to use your term, salami slicing, belt-tightening, which is what households and companies in the private sector do all the time.
Now, moving on to the private sector, George Osborne said a number of times yesterday that Britain was open for business. You were able to cut corporation tax in a slightly different financial environment as Chancellor. George Osborne also cut corporation tax yesterday. Do you think that there were decent tax incentives there for businesses?
Yes, I do. I mean, in a sense, he followed very much what I did in my 1984 budget, which was to progressively cut the rates of corporation tax and at the same time to phase out a whole lot of special reliefs of one kind or another, which were really distorting the economy. And it was much better, I thought, to give businessmen a much lower tax on profits and not these special reliefs for this, that and the other.
No, what he also did was to decrease the welfare budget, and we're actually going to see probably being more and more painful to be out of work at the end of this all. Do you think that that is possibly a better way to do things than slashing public spending further?
Well, they have attacked in this budget, it was announced yesterday, various benefits of one kind or another, and I think that in the circumstances that makes very good sense indeed.
Now let's move on to look at banks. Many of the bankers actually in the city are looking at this thinking, well, it could have been a lot worse. But so far the UK is going it alone. Do we need to see this happening across the board in the G20 in order to stop people, banks and financial institutions, deciding to leave the City of London?
I don't think so. There are huge advantages in being in the City of London, huge costs in relocating, and where do you relocate to, particularly since if you do relocate somewhere else, you may find that you are going to be have a tax inflicted on you there. So I think that the degree of taxation, which, as you say, is not as bad as many of the banks were fearing, is not going to make anybody leave. I think there is another thing with the banks, however, which does concern me. The banks are not supporting business as much as they should, and the reason they're not doing it is because they've been told that they have to build up their capital as a result of the totally inadequate capital they had, which was part of the problem for the banking meltdown. Now, it's right that they should build up their capital, but I don't think they should be asked to do it too quickly, because I think this will damage their capacity to lend.
Now, we've also had the VAT bombshell, as Nick Clegg called it, before he went into coalition with the Tories. Harriet Harman also said that this was very much the same old Tories. Do you think that at the end of the day this coalition will hold together? It seems good at the top, but will there be problems grassroots for the Lib Dems going forward?
I think there are always strains in coalitions, but I think this one is pretty secure. As you say, it is very secure at the top, and I think that it is going to last for some time. Whether it is going to last for the full 5 years is another matter, but I would expect it to last for some time.
Lord Lawson, your successor, George Osborne, is younger than England's goalkeeper in the match against Slovenia today, David James, presumably. He's going to be picked. How do you think overall he did? How did George Osborne do yesterday?
I was in the House of Commons to listen to the budget statement, and I thought it was an absolutely masterful performance. And I was very pleased indeed. I think it's the best. He's come of age, as it were. This is the most impressive thing that he has done in his relatively brief political career so far. So I think it augurs well. And of course, you have to remember that he has the backing of the Treasury officials, and the Treasury is far and away the ablest and most powerful department in the whole of Whitehall.
Lord Lawson, thank you very much indeed for joining us this morning with your insights.
Thank you.